We just got back from our Grand European tour on a Viking riverboat, and I'm excited to share this adventure with you. The Grand European tour is a 15-night river cruise that takes you from Budapest to Amsterdam, and you go through 3 different rivers and 5 different countries. We arrived at Budapest at 2:30 in the afternoon. We were met by a Viking representative that connected us with a car that took us to the ship. We arrived at the ship too late for any of the welcome walks, so we explored the ship, we had dinner, and then we went out to explore Budapest at night, which is absolutely gorgeous. We did a little bit of shopping, took in the sights, and then called it an early night. Day 2 started bright and early with the panoramic Budapest shore excursion. We boarded a bus and were taken by sights on the modern Pest side of town. We then crossed over the Danube River to the older Buda side of the city. Here we visited the Castle District, touring Matthias Church, which is officially known as the Church of the Assumption of the Buda Castle, but everyone just calls it Matthias Church. And taking in views from the Fisherman's Bastion, which includes stunning views of the Danube and of the Parliament building. We were then given free time to explore the area. We grabbed a strudel from a local bakery and purchased some of the famous Hungarian paprika. We were then taken back to the ship for lunch. After lunch, we went on the optional thermal bath excursion. There are 18 pools and 6 sauna and steam rooms. They range in temperatures from cold to hot. We went in all the pools that were opened and most of the sauna and steam rooms too. It was very relaxing and we highly recommend it. After several hours at the thermal baths, we were returned to the ship in time for the welcome toast in the lounge, after which the ship departed for Vienna. Day 3 was spent on the Danube sailing to Vienna. Most of the day was spent traveling through Slovakia, including passing through its capital of Bratislava. We also sailed by some castles, including Devon Castle. In the afternoon, there was an apple strudel making demonstration in the lounge. We even got to do a taste test. It was so yummy. Not long after that, we went through our first daytime lock. It was exciting to watch the first time, but going through locks got a little old after the first dozen or so. We arrived in Vienna after dinner, and soon after that, we went on the Mozart and Strauss concert excursion. The show featured a group of 6 musicians with opera singers and dancers joining in for some of the songs. It was a very enjoyable evening. Day 4 started early with the panoramic Vienna shore excursion. During this tour, we visited Maria Theresa Square, the Hofburg Palace, and St. Stephen's Cathedral. We were then given free time to explore. We did some shopping and had a coffee and snack at Café Alt Wien, which was fabulous. We were returned to the ship for lunch, after which we took the subway to Prater Park, an amusement park in Vienna's 2nd district. We went on the giant Ferris wheel, which was built in 1897 and is almost 65 meters tall, providing stunning views of the city. We also went on a log ride, which was very refreshing on what we've been told was one of the hottest days ever in Vienna. We ended our visit to the park with a trip to a beer garden and had a few beers before headed back to the ship. After dinner, we sat out on the deck at the front of the ship, waiting for the ship to cast off to our next destination. The views of the city as we headed off were spectacular. The morning of day 5 was spent sailing to Melk. We sailed through terraced vineyards, forested slopes, charming towns, and castle ruins in Austria's Wachau Valley. In the afternoon, we went on a shore excursion to Melk Abbey, a 900-year-old Benedictine abbey. It's a stunning example of Baroque architecture and overlooks the town from its hilltop location, which offers panoramic views of the town and the Danube River below. The abbey is home to 22 monks and has over 100,000 books in its library, with some of the books dating back to the 9th century. We were back on the ship for dinner and treated to a gorgeous sunset as the ship headed off to Passau. Day 6 started off with the Passau walking tour. Founded by the Celts over 2,000 years ago, Passau is one of Bavaria's oldest cities. Known as the City of Three Rivers, it rests on the confluence of the Ain, Idz, and Danube rivers. We toured the town and visited the Baroque St. Stephen's Cathedral, home to one of Europe's largest pipe organs. After the tour ended, we purchased tickets for the organ concert. If you ever get a chance to attend an organ concert here, take it. It was an unforgettable experience with absolutely mesmerizing sounds. In the afternoon, we went on the Bavaria by e-bike shore excursion. We enjoyed a lovely ride next to the Ain River that took us over a bridge at a dam and then to Wernstein, where we were able to go on a bridge that is half in Germany and half in Austria. We took a different route back, which took us over a scenic bridge to return to the ship. We very much enjoyed this excursion and highly recommend it. That night, we were informed that the river levels are too low for the ship to continue to Regensburg. That meant we would be switching ships on day 8. With the ship stuck in Passau, day 7 started with a bus ride to Regensburg for the walking tour. During the tour, we visited the new parish church, which became the first Protestant parish church in Regensburg in 1542. We also saw the David and Goliath mural, which was painted in 1573 and is located on Goliathstrasse in Old Town, and visited St. Peter's Cathedral, a magnificent example of Gothic architecture. Construction began in 1275 with its completion over 600 years later. The highlight of our visit to Regensburg was the Old Stone Bridge. The bridge was built in the 12th century and is considered a masterpiece of medieval construction. We were again treated to a spectacular sunset as we spent our last night on the Viking River, packing for the move to our new ship tomorrow and enjoying ourselves in the lounge. We said goodbye to the Viking River on the morning of day 8 and boarded a bus bound for Nuremberg. The journey took a little over 4 hours, including a stop halfway through at a McDonald's. Eventually, we arrived at our new home for the second half of our trip, the Viking Egdir. After lunch, we settled into our stateroom and got ready for the afternoon's shore excursion, Nuremberg through history. Our first stop was the Imperial Castle, a striking medieval fortress perched on a sandstone ridge with sweeping views of the city. And from there, we strolled through Nuremberg's charming old town, ending at the beautiful fountain, a stunning 14th century Gothic masterpiece nestled in the heart of the square. With some free time, we wandered the cobblestone streets, browsed some local shops, and even popped into a brewery for a quick drink. Dan briefly auditioned for a new career as a tour guide as we walked back to the bus. As evening fell, the sunset over the Main River proved just as breathtaking as those we'd enjoyed on the Danube. After dinner, we capped off the night with a lively performance of gypsy swing music. We loved it so much we bought their CD to bring a piece of the experience home with us. Day 9 began with a walking tour through the charming town of Bamberg. Our first stop was the Bamberg New Residence, where we explored its elegant rose garden and enjoyed sweeping panoramic views of the historic old town below. Next, we visited the impressive Bamberg Cathedral, originally founded in 1002 by King Heinrich II, who later became emperor. The current structure dates back to the 13th century and showcases a striking blend of late Romanesque and early Gothic architecture. No visit to Bamberg would be complete without seeing the iconic Altes Rathaus, or Old Town Hall. Perched dramatically in the middle of a bridge spanning the Regnitz River, this is one of the most photographed buildings in Germany. Upon our return, we were welcomed back to the ship by the captain and crew, who greeted us with a refreshing drink as we reboarded the ship. Later in the afternoon, we relaxed in a lounge and enjoyed a delightful afternoon tea, complete with sweet and savory treats. As we continued our journey along the Main River, which serves as a key connection between the Danube and Rhine rivers, We passed through several of the river's 34 locks, gradually descending with each lock as we made our way toward the Rhine River. Day 10 began with a visit to the magnificent Würzburg bishop's residence, the opulent former home of the Würzburg prince bishops, constructed over a 25-year span beginning in 1719. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is a stunning example of Baroque architecture. We marveled at the breathtaking 6,400 square foot Four Continents fresco that graces the vaulted ceiling, one of the largest of its kind in the world. The tour continued through a series of lavishly decorated rooms and out into the formal gardens, a blend of Baroque precision and English-style charm, complete with ornate statues and manicured walkways. The undeniable highlight of the interior was the dazzling mirror cabinet. This Rococo masterpiece is a visual feast, with its delicate white stucco, glistening gold leaf, and intricate carvings that reflect endlessly in the surrounding mirrors. After our tour, we strode through Würzburg's charming old town, passing the cathedral, the lively market square, and the iconic Old Main Bridge, which is famous for its wine drinking tradition. We couldn't resist joining in and enjoyed a glass of local wine right on the bridge, surrounded by views of the river and historic buildings. We then walked along the scenic riverside path back to the ship, soaking in the beautiful view. That evening, we were treated to a traditional German glassblowing demonstration in the lounge. Dan volunteered during the show and was presented with a handmade glass ornament he helped create, a unique souvenir and a fun memory to take home. Day 11 began with a scenic walking tour of the charming town of Wertheim. We were brought into town on adorable little trolleys, which added a fun start to the day. Our tour kicked off at the iconic pointed tower, round at the base and octagonal at the top. Over its 800-year history, the tower has developed a noticeable lean, giving it a unique and slightly whimsical character. As we made our way through Wertheim's old town center, we admired the beautiful half-timbered houses and wandered along narrow, picturesque streets. A highlight of the walk was the Stiftskirche, a Protestant church that dates back to the late 14th century. Its striking Gothic clock tower stood tall against the skyline, a testament to the town's medieval roots. We also took a peaceful stroll along the banks of the Tauber River, soaking in the tranquil atmosphere and scenic surroundings. After the guided tour, we decided to hike up to the hilltop castle. Wertheim Castle, once the residence of the Earls of Wertheim, dates back to the Middle Ages and was heavily damaged during the 30 Years' War in 1619. Fortunately, it was partially restored in the 1980s, allowing visitors to explore its fascinating ruins and history. We wandered through the castle grounds, including the outer walls, upper ramparts, and its grand facade. After climbing the watchtower, we were rewarded with breathtaking panoramic views of the river valley and town below. We could even spot our ship docked in the distance. That evening, we were treated to a festive traditional German dinner. The meal was served by the crew dressed in classic Bavarian attire and featured hearty regional dishes along with authentic German beer and spirits. It was a lively and thoroughly enjoyable experience. Later that night, we passed through our final set of locks as we continued our journey towards the Rhine River, marking another milestone in our unforgettable adventure. Day 12 marked our first day cruising the Rhine River, and with it came a complete change in weather. We traded hot, sunny skies for cool and cloudy with on and off rain. We spent much of the day sailing along the river, taking in its beauty from the warmth of the ship. The Middle Rhine, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, spans a 40-mile stretch between Bingen and Koblenz. As we sailed past steep hillsides rising dramatically from the water, we were treated to views of more than 28 castles, each seemingly more picturesque than the last. Their towers and stone walls peeked through the mist, adding to the fairy tale atmosphere of the day. Our ship made a brief stop in Braubach, where we disembarked for the Moselle wine tasting shore excursion. A short bus ride brought us to the Moselle River Valley, where terraced vineyards climb the dramatic slopes carved by the river. The region's south-facing slopes soak up the sun, while the slate-rich soil stores its warmth, creating the perfect condition for growing grapes, especially the area's celebrated Riesling. Our destination was the Way Winery, where we began with a peaceful stroll through their picturesque vineyard. Inside, we enjoyed a guided tasting of 5 wines, each with its own unique character. We loved them so much that we purchased 3 bottles to bring home. From there, the bus took us to Koblenz. We enjoyed a short but pleasant walk through the city before returning to the ship, ending our first day on the ride with a wonderful blend of history, scenery, and flavor. Day 13 began with a rainy walking tour of Cologne, where we explored both its Roman roots and medieval past. One of the most memorable stops was the reconstructed Roman Harbor Road, where we actually walked on original Roman paving stones. Just beside it, we saw a preserved section of the city's ancient wall, a striking reminder of Cologne's long history. The highlight of the tour was Cologne's magnificent Gothic cathedral. Construction began in 1248 and remarkably continued in phases over 7 centuries. Today, it stands as the largest Gothic cathedral in Northern Europe, with its twin spires dominating the skyline. Inside, the soaring ceilings and intricate stained glass windows were breathtaking. Even more impressive, the cathedral withstood the devastating bombings of World War II that leveled much of the city around it. After the tour, we grabbed lunch at Bill's Döner, where we enjoyed an authentic German Döner kebab. It was absolutely delicious, and if you ever visit Cologne, I highly recommend stopping there for a quick meal. From there, we made our way to the famous Lovelock Bridge, where thousands of plaid locks glisten on the railings, tokens of couples who lock in their love and toss the key into the Rhine below. Crossing the bridge gave us fabulous views of the city from the other side of the river. And on our way back, we crossed another bridge that offered a bird's-eye view of the sun deck of our ship. That evening, we joined the Cologne beer culture and dinner excursion. Cologne is famous for Kolsch, a crisp light beer brewed exclusively in the city. We enjoyed a hearty dinner at Peter's Brewhouse, then visited 3 other traditional brewhouses, sampling their Kolsch at each stop. It was a lively, fun-filled evening that gave us a real taste of Cologne's vibrant beer culture. The morning of day 14 found us sailing down the scenic Rhine River on our way to Kinderdijk. During the journey, we were invited to join a fascinating wheelhouse tour with the captain. It was incredible to learn how such a large ship is controlled and to see the technology and precision that goes into navigating the waterways. After lunch, we docked in Kinderdijk and set off on the Windmills by e-bike excursion. The ride took us through the peaceful Dutch countryside where iconic windmills dotted the landscape. Kinderdijk is world famous for these windmills, built centuries ago to pump excess water from the polders, which are low-lying tracts of land that sit about 5 feet below sea level. Along the way, we stopped to tour one of the windmills, where we stepped inside to get a glimpse of the rustic and challenging life of a mill keeper. That evening, as we sailed toward our final destination, we gathered in the lounge for the captain's farewell party. Glasses were raised in a final toast to our journey, and we took photos with the captain to capture the memory of our last night on board. We woke up in the morning of day 15 in our final destination, Amsterdam. With a few hours to spare before headed to the airport, we enjoyed a leisurely breakfast and then set out to explore the city. Our walk took us along Amsterdam's charming canals, lined with historic buildings and bustling with activity. We made our way past the impressive train station, visited Würzburg to see its famous bull statue, paused at Dam Square to admire the National Monument and Royal Palace, and wandered by the Oude Kerk, the city's oldest parish church. Everywhere we turned, we were reminded that Amsterdam is one of the most bicycle-friendly cities in the world. as cyclists zipped along the streets and bridges. Eventually, it was time to return to the ship and say our final goodbyes. With hearts full of memories, we boarded a taxi to the airport. As we rode through the city, we reflected on what a truly remarkable 15-day journey it had been and promised ourselves that one day we would take another Viking cruise.